Imagine you walk out to your mailbox, and sitting right there on top of the usual stack of bills and junk mail is a letter marked in big, bold letters, Final Warning.
Oh man, that would definitely get my attention.
Yeah, exactly. You'd open it up expecting, I don't know, some sort of past due notice from a utility company, but instead you pull out this sprawling, ambitious manifesto that claims to hold the unified secrets of the universe, quantum physics, and literally every major world religion.
Just a casual Tuesday mail delivery.
Right. It tells you exactly how the cosmos is structured, why humanity is currently tearing itself apart, and what you specifically need to do to survive the incoming collapse of civilization.
I mean, it is the ultimate high-stakes piece of mail, and it demands a complete rewiring of how you perceive biology, politics, and spirituality.
That is the premise of the document we're exploring with you today. It's titled Confessions of Lifechanyuan. It was authored by Shifeng and Xianxi Sustiel, and it's dated April 25, 2004.
Yeah, and it is a wild ride.
It really is. Our mission for this deep dive is to decode this sweeping text because it attempts to build a single, unified theory of human existence. It diagnoses the fatal flaws of our modern world and, well, predicts a rather turbulent near future.
And, Schweffing and Shani, they don't present this as some casual philosophical essay. They declare that humanity has reached the end of what they call the fifth year of the sun.
The fifth year of the sun.
Yeah. In their cosmic calendar, this signifies the end of a massive planetary epoch. A literal ticking clock has run out. They frame this document as a final summons from gods and Buddhas. It's basically a last opportunity for humanity to board a proverbial ark before a global reset.
So it's essentially a spiritual evacuation plan.
Exactly. They position Lifechanyuan as that spiritual homeland, a safe harbor for a civilization that's just teetering on the brink of destruction.
Okay, let's unpack this, because if this is a last call to humanity, we first need to understand the universe that humanity is actually living in, at least according to this cosmic architecture. And the framework they lay out is it's wildly intricate.
It really is. The foundation of their universe begins with an entity they call the greatest creator. But this creator doesn't operate like, a human king sitting on a throne.
Right. It's not a guy with a white beard in the clouds.
Exactly. It operates through this pervasive psychic energy called Tao. And the absolute defining characteristic of this Tao is uncompromising equality. It treats every single species and every single individual exactly the same. Zero preference, zero favoritism.
So the karma system under this Tao is completely rigid. As the text says, karma is yours. Whether you succeed in your career, whether your family is happy, whether your country is prospering, none of that is random luck.
No, not at all.
It's not a roll of the dice, and it's not the result of some rigged economic system. It depends entirely on whether your consciousness aligns with the operation of this psychic energy. You align with the Tao, you prosper. You go against it, you perish.
It is a universe of pure, unadulterated cause and effect. But the core mechanism of how the greatest creator actually tests our alignment with the Tao is through a structure of exactly 36 mazes.
36 mazes. I am so fascinated by this concept.
Yeah, these mazes are laid out throughout the vast universe. Every person's life has the potential for an infinitely beautiful future in a higher life space. But moving up that cosmic ladder, it depends entirely on your ability to decode these specific mazes.
It sounds less like traditional theology and more like, I don't know, a digital architecture, like locked levels in a video game.
That's a really good way to look at it.
And these mazes, they aren't physical labyrinths made of stone, right? They are illusions of earthly attachment, things like wealth, status, ego, prejudice.
Yes, decoding a maze means realizing the physical world is temporary and aligning your consciousness back to that pure psychic energy.
And that mechanism completely reframes how Lifechanyuan views world religions. I mean, they categorize global faiths based on how effectively their followers decode these mazes.
Right. So innocent Christians, for example, they decode enough mazes to enter what is called the 1,000-year world.
Okay.
And then Taoists, who cultivate high morals, they reach the 10,000-year world.
And Buddhists have a totally separate trajectory. The text says if a Buddhist manages to reach a non-form state, they get to bypass those intermediate worlds entirely and go straight to the Elysium world.
Oh yeah, and that non-form state is crucial to understand here. It basically means stripping away all physical and conceptual boundaries. It's the complete dissolution of the ego.
Where you stop seeing yourself as a separate individual.
Exactly. You realize your consciousness is indistinguishable from the universe itself. Achieving that state unlocks the highest levels of this cosmic architecture.
So your religious background, whether you're Christian, Taoist, Buddhist, it essentially acts like your initial character class in this impossibly complex cosmic simulation. You start with different rule books, but every single human being is trapped in the exact same server.
I love that analogy.
You're all trying to decode the exact same 36 mazes to level up your spiritual purity. You are literally all trying to break the same code.
And in this framework, the people who have decoded the most mazes, the ones who have seen through the illusion of the material world, they are recognized as celestial beings, saints, sages, and philosophers. Shuifeng and Shanei elevate these figures way above kings or scientists.
Because they possess the greatest wisdom in human society.
Exactly.
But wait, if this cosmic simulation is so perfectly designed by the greatest creator, and there are these 36 mazes laid out for us to navigate why the urgent warning, why is the fifth year of the sun ending in this massive crisis?
Well, because humanity is failing the test miserably. We aren't just stuck in the maze, we are actively corrupting the game itself. The crisis is diagnosed with this very stark image. They say humanity is currently clinging to the edge of a cliff, and at any unguarded moment, we're going to plummet into the abyss.
They lay out 3 strict minimum conditions for humans to even be allowed to survive on Earth. Just 3 rules to maintain residence in this homeland. 1, love the greatest creator. 2, love nature. And 3, love each other.
And they argue that right now we are feeling all 3.
Which means we are essentially trespassing. We've violated the terms of service and are no longer qualified to live here.
And the timeline they give really highlights the sheer tragedy of this failure. In their cosmology, it took billions of years for the greatest creator, gods, and Buddhas to meticulously craft this beautiful homeland for us.
Billions of years of preparation.
Right. Yet humanity has managed to render it filthy, polluted, and chaotic in just a few thousand years. It's a billion-year project squandered in a cosmic blink of an eye.
And the rot of this hostility, it isn't just described in abstract terms like global pollution or international wars. It gets incredibly micro.
Oh, yeah. Very personal.
The authors specifically call out how people fight covertly and overtly, not just across national borders, but among brothers and sisters, between friends and neighbors, colleagues, classmates, even between husbands and wives and parents and children.
The hostility has infected the most foundational units of human connection. And that micro-level hostility is viewed as the primary symptom of a much larger spiritual disease. Originally, human wisdom was entirely sufficient to manage the earth. But as people became ignorant of the greatest creator, they lost their connection to nature.
So that massive spiritual disconnect cascaded downward, fundamentally breaking how we interact with our own families?
Exactly.
But I have to stop you there because this leads to one of the most massive and frankly controversial claims in this entire document.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Shufeng and Jian explicitly state that natural disasters, ecological collapses, and even physical bodily illnesses are not caused by biology or meteorology.
Right.
They claim these things are caused by people's bad consciousnesses and the imperfections of their minds and spirits. I mean, blaming an earthquake on bad thoughts or a patient's physical illness on their spiritual impurity, that is a massive leap.
It really is.
What is the actual mechanism here? How does a selfish thought biologically manifest as a failing cell?
What's fascinating here is that to understand this mechanism, you have to entirely discard modern materialism. In the Lifechanyuan worldview, the physical world does not have independent agency.
It doesn't.
No. The material world is 100% subordinate to the spiritual world. Think of the spiritual layer as the architectural blueprint and the physical world as the house.
Okay, I'm following.
If the blueprint is corrupted by selfishness, anger, or ego, the physical house collapses. A hurricane, a drought, or a disease in the human body, they are not random biological or meteorological events. They are the physical symptoms of a corrupted spiritual code.
Wow.
So if a society's collective spirituality is impure, its ecology breaks down.
So we cannot fix climate change or disease with just better technology or improved political systems. Because trying to fix the physical world with physical tools is like trying to fix a software bug by wiping down your computer monitor.
That is a perfect analogy. You are only addressing the manifestation of the problem, not the root cause.
Okay, so if the physical world's problems are entirely caused by our corrupted spiritual code, how do we fix our thinking? How do we step back from the edge of this cliff before the epoch ends?
By fundamentally merging the spiritual perception of religion with the rationality of science. The authors argue that right now, both of these massive human institutions are fundamentally incomplete and blind to the full reality.
The critique they level at both science and religion is incredibly sharp. They say people in religious circles have spiritual perception, but they lack rationality, which leads to superstition.
Right.
Meanwhile, people in scientific circles have rationality, but they completely lack spiritual perception, leading to an empty, mechanistic view of the universe. Neither side possesses the full picture.
And to explain the divide within religion itself, they use this striking metaphor contrasting Christianity and Buddhism.
I love this part.
It's so poetic. Christianity is described as understanding the source of life, but it cannot see the vast ocean to where that life flows. Buddhism, on the other hand, intimately knows the ocean to where life flows, but it doesn't know its source.
So one faith has discovered the spring bubbling out of the ground, the other has mapped the vast ocean it empties into, but neither has managed to chart the entire river connecting them.
Exactly. And to map that entire river, Lifechanyuan introduces the concept of great wisdom. This is the wisdom held by the celestial beings and sages we mentioned earlier.
Right, the ones who decoded the mazes.
Yes. What makes their wisdom great is their ability to understand how the massive macro-universe connects directly, seamlessly, to the microscopic micro-world.
Here's where it gets really interesting, especially for anyone following modern physics. The document dives straight into quantum theology.
Oh yeah, they go right for it.
It explicitly rejects scientific consensus about the foundation of reality. It states that the acmes of the microworld, the absolute smallest building blocks of existence, they do not exist in the form of elementary particles. They don't exist as strings or superstrings.
Right. Instead, the authors claim the foundation of reality operates entirely in the non-material.
The non-material.
Yeah, this non-material zone completely defies scientific instrumentation. The argument is that science is looking for physical answers to a non-physical universe. If you look deep enough into a microscope, past the atoms, past the quarks, you are not going to find smaller pieces of matter. You find the pure psychic energy of the greatest creator. You find the Tao.
It's like looking at a highly detailed, pixelated image on a screen. Science is zooming in closer and closer with microscopes and particle accelerators, desperate to find smaller and smaller pixels, the elementary particles. But Lifechanyuan argues that if you zoom in far enough, you don't find a smaller pixel. You hit the underlying source code. You hit the programming language that is projecting the image of the physical universe in the first place.
And what frustrates the scientists zooming in on those pixels is that their instruments stop working the closer they get to that source code.
Because the code isn't physical.
Exactly. Because the source code is non-material. The sages and saints are effectively the programmers. They are the only ones who can perceive the greatest creator in those deep non-material depths because they're using pure consciousness to read the code rather than physical instruments.
Wow. Okay, so if we achieve this great wisdom, if we finally understand that our reality is projected by a non-material source code, how does Lifechanyuan demand we govern our actual human society? What does a civilization run by programmers of the Tao actually look like?
Well, it requires a total, uncompromising overhaul of earthly governance. The authors dismiss our current political systems outright.
All of them.
Pretty much. Autocratic dictatorships are labeled as disastrous for civil society. But liberal democracies are equally dismissed as not cure-alls, because both systems operate entirely on the physical material layer. Absolutely no human-designed political structure can save us from the incoming reset.
They argue that only the greatest creator system can allow humanity to finally bid farewell to hunger, illness, plague, crime, and war.
Right.
And to explain why modern society feels so incredibly empty and chaotic without that system, the authors pull a profound lament from a thinker named Yin Zhenqi. Yin argues that today's society lacks the highest of all principles and the ultimate standard.
And because we lack that ultimate compass, our specific paths in life, our careers, our politics, our daily routines, they are completely blind, empty, and absurd.
Because humanity is wandering blindly through these absurd routines, Lifechanyuan argues we need a drastic, shocking catalyst to wake us up. They quote the famous English writer D.H. Lawrence here.
Yeah, that quote is intense.
He advocated that all of humanity must be thrown into a furnace to cast a new kind of humanity. Lawrence envisioned combining all human knowledge and all languages into a huge and refreshing symphony.
Throwing humanity into a furnace is incredibly intense imagery. But they aren't advocating for physical destruction. They are demanding a total melting down of our current egos, labels, and prejudices.
They want to burn away the jealousy, the selfishness, the anger, and the arbitrary borders that separate us.
Exactly. And to achieve this new symphony, Lifechanyuan practices a staggering level of radical inclusivity. They attempt to build this new society by leaving their doors wide open to anyone willing to step into that furnace. The text notes these doors have been open since before 2013.
The sheer breadth of the people they explicitly welcome is mind-boggling. They invite emperors and commoners, the elite and the popular, the wealthy and the destitute.
It's everybody.
They specifically list Christians, Buddhists, Muslims, Taoists, Jehovah's Witnesses, Falun Gong members, the Krishna consciousness movement. They even explicitly welcome Communist Party members, Democratic patriots, and prisoners of sin.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the psychological friction of putting a Jehovah's Witness, a staunch Communist Party member, and a billionaire into the same spiritual melting pot is the point.
Right.
By aggressively welcoming diametrically opposed groups, Lifechanyuan is attempting to completely erase earthly, political, and social boundaries. They are flattening all of human society into one single equal layer before the greatest creator.
And the inclusivity doesn't even stop at the human species.
No, it doesn't.
The document extends this unified demand for respect and cherishing to livestock, birds, animals, fish, insects, flowers, and plants. Literally every living, breathing thing is included in this unified respect.
Which brings us back to their core tenet. The universe and life are one interconnected code. If the psychic energy of the Tao treats all species equally, then humans must reflect that equality to survive.
Right.
They are stripping away all human arrogance in preparation for the eve of a great change, unseen in 1,000 years. This transition requires a new humanity that doesn't view itself as the conqueror of nature, but as a humble participant in it.
So what does this all mean? When you strip away the vast cosmic timelines, the 36 mazes, and the quantum theology, Lifechanyuan is essentially offering itself as a spiritual relay station for an exhausted world.
Yeah. They are looking at a civilization that is deeply fractured, suffering from a corrupted spiritual blueprint, and they are offering a single, unified theory to rewrite the code.
It's a profound attempt to inject meaning into a chaotic reality. They are telling the individual, you are not just a random, meaningless collection of atoms suffering on a dying rock. You are an integral part of an intricate cosmic architecture.
And your daily spiritual choices, how you treat your neighbor, your spouse, the insects in your garden, have literal physical consequences for the entire universe.
Absolutely.
Regardless of your personal religious beliefs, your scientific background, or your politics, the core diagnosis this text makes about the human condition is incredibly easy to relate to. I think everyone listening to this deep dive right now understands the modern feeling of information overload and severe societal burnout.
Oh, definitely. We can all look around and see a humanity that is deeply stressed, constantly fighting over trivial things, and desperate for an ultimate standard to make sense of the noise. The anxiety Xu Feng and Jiane were describing in 2004 feels exponentially more urgent today.
That universal craving for D.H. Lawrence's refreshing symphony is undeniable. People want the noise of the physical world to stop, and they want the underlying music to finally make sense.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over, building directly on the concepts we've explored today. Think about the specific mechanical claims Confessions of Lifechanyuan makes about our reality.
Right.
It claims that a creator designed a universe with exactly 37 mazes to test our progression. It claims that the fundamental bedrock of our physical reality isn't material particles, but a non-material zone of pure information. And it claims that our physical illnesses, ecological disasters, and societal collapses are just manifestations of our corrupted consciousness.
Right.
If you take all of those specific points and view them through a modern technological lens, is it possible this document is not just a religious text, but an early, highly spiritualized version of simulation theory?
Oh, wow.
Think about it. Are those 36 mazes literally levels of code we are forced to beat to level up our consciousness? Is that non-material microworld simply the underlying programming language? The zeros and ones of a cosmic supercomputer projecting our universe?
That is a wild connection to make, but it fits so well.
And if our physical bodies get sick or our planet experiences a climate disaster because of our bad consciousness, is that simply our avatars glitching out because the players behind the screen are failing the game?
When you map their spiritual vocabulary directly onto digital concepts, the parallels regarding a constructed, rule-bound reality designed to test human consciousness are impossible to ignore. It suggests the sages and scientists are just using different languages to describe the exact same artificial construct.
It really makes you look at that final warning letter in your mailbox a little differently. Whether you view it as a divine revelation, a philosophical critique of a dying society, or a cosmic simulation manual detailing how to survive the next server wipe, it demands that you pay intense attention to how you treat the world around you.
It really does.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the nature of your reality, keep exploring those mazes, and we'll see you next time.